Imagine walking through a dry forest thousands of years ago. The air smells different, sharp, bitter, smoky. Birds are suddenly moving fast above the trees. Small animals are running in the same direction. Then the wind changes. A wall of smoke slides between the trunks. The sky turns orange. Somewhere behind you, branches begin to crack. Then roar. Your tribe is trapped. No fire trucks, no helicopters, no radio warning, no road out. Just heat, smoke, panic, children, elders, and a fire moving faster than anyone expected. So what did ancient humans do when a forest fire trapped their tribe? The first answer is simple. They moved fast, but not blindly. Surviving wildfire meant reading the land quicker than the fire could close in. Ancient humans lived outside enough to notice danger early. Smoke on the wind mattered. A strange orange light mattered. Animals fleeing mattered. Ash falling from the sky mattered. A sudden hot wind mattered. These were not background details. They were warnings. A person who ignored them could die. A person who understood them might save the group. The first decision was direction. Fire moves with fuel, wind, slope, and dryness. Ancient people did not use those scientific terms, but they understood the pattern through experience. Fire climbs uphill quickly. Wind pushes flames forward. Dry grass burns fast. Dense brush becomes dangerous. Green riverbanks may slow fire. Bare rock does not burn. Freshly burned ground may become a refuge. So the group had to ask without words, or with very quick words. Where is the wind pushing the fire? Where is the smoke thickest? Where is the nearest water? Where is open ground? Where is rock? Where have flames already passed? Those answers could mean life or death. One of the safest directions might be toward water. A river, lake, marsh, or wet streambed could create a break in the fire. If the water was deep enough, people could enter it, cover their faces, and wait while heat and smoke passed. But water was not always safe. A narrow creek in heavy smoke might not protect anyone. A riverbank packed with dry reeds could burn. A canyon with water at the bottom could trap smoke and heat. Still, in many landscapes, water was one of the most important escape targets. Ancient people knew their local water sources because they depended on them every day. That knowledge became a survival map. Another possible refuge was bare ground, rocky slopes, dry riverbeds with little vegetation, open sand, gravel, recent landslides, areas with sparse fuel. Fire needs something to burn. If people could reach a place with very little fuel, they improved their chances. They might gather on stone, sand, or open earth while flames move through nearby vegetation. This would still be terrifying. Heat can radiate across open space. Smoke can choke. Embers can fall. But bare ground is better than being surrounded by brush. A third refuge was already burned ground. This sounds strange, but it can make sense. If flames have already passed through an area, much of the fuel is gone. A blackened patch may be hot, smoky, and painful to cross, but it might not burn again immediately. Modern wildfire survival sometimes recognizes the logic of moving into an area that has already burned, if no better option exists. Ancient humans may have learned this by watching fires. They would see that flames eat grass, move forward, and leave black earth behind. That black earth could become a temporary island in a burning world. But reaching it was dangerous. You had to cross heat, smoke, and embers. People might wrap themselves in hides, hold cloth or skins over the face, carry children, and move together. They might crawl lower if smoke was too thick, though ground heat and terrain could make that difficult. They would try to breathe through fabric, hair, or damp material if water was available. A wet covering could help briefly, but it would not make someone fireproof. Survival depended on distance, timing, and luck. Caves and rock shelters were complicated. A cave might seem safe because stone does not burn, but smoke can enter and suffocate people. Heat can build near the entrance. Animals fleeing fire may also seek shelter there. A cave with poor airflow could become deadly. Still, a deep rock shelter with the right opening, little vegetation nearby, and manageable smoke could protect a group. Ancient humans would know which caves were safe from wind, rain, predators, and perhaps fire because those places were part of their living map. The group structure mattered. A wildfire does not threaten everyone equally. Children cannot run as fast. Elders may slow down. Injured people may need help. Pregnant women may struggle. Someone has to carry infants. Someone has to guide. Someone has to keep people from scattering. Panic kills groups. Coordination saves them. Ancient humans survived because they were social. In a crisis, stronger members could carry children. Experienced trackers could lead. Older people might know the safest route. Others could help the injured. The group had to become one moving body, not 30 individuals running in 30 directions. This is where language and signals mattered. Short commands, pointing, calling names, whistles, gestures through smoke. Everyone had to understand quickly. Move downhill but not into a canyon. Go to the river, stay together, drop heavy objects, carry the child, cover your mouth. Do not go toward the thick brush. These were survival decisions made under extreme pressure. They likely abandoned almost everything. Tools mattered, but lives mattered more. A stone blade can be replaced. A heavy bundle can slow you down. Food stores, hides, baskets, and ornaments might be left behind, but some things were too valuable to lose if they could be carried safely. A fire ember, a child, a water skin, a weapon, a pouch of medicine or tinder. Still, in a fast-moving fire, carrying too much could kill. Ancient humans had to make brutal choices. Once they reached a safer place, the danger was not over. Smoke inhalation could weaken or kill. Burns could become infected. Water sources could be fouled with ash. Food might be destroyed. Shelters might be gone. Animals might flee the area. Tools made from wood, fiber, and bone could burn. Stored food, bedding, and clothing could disappear in minutes. A fire could erase a camp. So after escape came recovery. The group had to count people, treat burns, find water, rebuild shelter, recover tools if possible, search for missing members, watch for predators displaced by the fire, and decide whether to stay or move. Fire changed the landscape, but it did not always leave only destruction. After a burn, the ground opens. New shoots grow. Animals return to feed. Certain plants sprout after fire. Dead animals may be found. Fresh tracks can be seen in ash or soft earth. Ancient humans may have learned that fire could create opportunity after danger. This may have shaped how humans came to understand fire. At first, wildfire was terrifying, a force that consumed forests, killed animals, and darkened the sky. But it also left cooked meat, open ground, new plant growth, clear paths, warm embers. Maybe early humans first learned to value fire by watching what wildfires left behind. They may have taken burning branches or embers from natural fires and carried them back to camp. A disaster became a tool. Over generations, humans learned not only to flee fire, but to use it. They used it for warmth, cooking, protection, light, landscape management in some cultures, driving animals, clearing areas, hardening wooden tools. But that mastery began with fear. The people who survived fire remembered. They remembered where the flames came from, which winds were dangerous, which valleys filled with smoke, which trees exploded into sparks, which river crossing saved them, which shelter failed, which season made the forest dry. That memory became teaching. Children learned the smell of smoke. They learned not to sleep in certain places during dry winds. They learned where water could be found. They learned that animals running together meant something was wrong. They learned that fire was never just light. It was alive in the landscape. Wildfire also shaped social memory. A tribe that survived a great fire would tell the story again and again, not only because it was frightening, but because it carried instructions. When the sky turns red, go to the stones. When the dry wind comes from the west, leave the valley. When birds rise all at once, listen. When ash falls before sunset, do not wait. Stories made survival knowledge memorable. A child may ignore a rule, but a a story about a night the forest burned can stay in the mind forever. That is how disaster becomes culture. Not every group survived. We should not soften the reality. Ancient wildfires could kill entire families or camps. There were no emergency crews coming, no official evacuation route, no hospital afterward. If the fire moved too fast, if the smoke came from the wrong direction, if the group was trapped in a canyon, if children slowed the escape, the outcome could be deadly. Survival was never guaranteed, but humans had advantages. They could observe, communicate, remember, plan routes, help one another, learn from previous fires, and pass that knowledge forward. A deer can flee fire. A human can tell grandchildren how the fire moved. That difference matters. So what did ancient humans do when a forest fire trapped their tribe? They read the wind. They followed smoke and animal movement. They searched for water, rock, open ground, or already burned areas. They abandoned weight. They carried children. They protected their faces as best they could. They stayed together. They escaped if they could. And afterward, they rebuilt. But the deeper answer is this: they turned terror into knowledge. Fire was one of the first forces humans feared, studied, carried, protected, and eventually controlled. The same flame that could trap a tribe in a burning forest could later warm a cave, cook a meal, and keep predators away. That is the strange human story. We survived not because the world was gentle. It was not. We survived because when the world tried to kill us, we watched carefully enough to learn from it. And somewhere in the smoke of those ancient fires, humans began to understand one of the most dangerous truths in nature. What can destroy you can also teach you.